While you're driving through a snowy town in the dead of night, you spot a small boy sitting alone on a frozen bench at a deserted bus stop. No parents, no luggage, just a crumpled note in his hand that reads, "Please take care of him." Listen to today's heart-wrenching true story of a city bus driver who takes in a lost child, only to uncover a secret from his past that turns his entire world upside down. Who is this boy? Why was he left alone in the cold? And what if this abandoned child wasn't a stranger at all? Before we move on, please let us know where you're listening from. It was past 11:30 p.m. in the sleepy town of Riverside, Ohio. Snow blanketed the streets and the wind whispered through empty intersections. Michael Harwood, a seasoned city bus driver with over 2 decades behind the wheel, was wrapping up his last route of the day. He looked forward to going home to his wife Sarah, who always waited with a hot meal and a warm smile. As he approached the final stop on the outskirts, something unusual caught his eye. A small figure, alone on a bench under the flickering street lamp. Michael pulled over, heart tightening. It was a boy, maybe 6. He was shivering, wrapped in an old coat far too large for him, and his boots didn't even touch the ground. Michael stepped out into the snow and gently approached the boy, who looked up with tear-streaked cheeks. Clutched in his hands was a crumpled note. "Please take care of him. His name is Ethan. I can't do this anymore." The boy introduced himself softly as Ethan, his voice barely rising above a whisper. He looked no older than 6, and the cold had painted his cheeks a deep shade of red. His wide eyes scanned the empty road behind Michael, as though he still expected someone else to come. "Dad said to wait for someone to come," he murmured, clutching the straps of his worn-out backpack with frostbitten fingers. Michael's chest tightened with a mixture of heartbreak and fury. Who could leave a child alone like this in the dead of night? Without hesitation, Michael reached down, gently placed a hand on the boy's shoulder, and said, "You're safe now, buddy. Let's get you warm." He led Ethan up the bus steps, careful not to rush him. Inside, he wrapped the boy in his thick wool scarf, turned the heater to its highest setting, and sat him right behind the driver's seat. One thing was certain, this night had changed everything. Michael called Sarah on the way home. She didn't hesitate. "Bring him here," she said. "We'll figure it out." When they arrived at the Harwood home, Sarah had already warmed up dinner and prepared the guest room. Over hot cocoa, Ethan shared that his mom had been sick for a long time, too sick to take care of him anymore. She was in the hospital now, and he didn't know when or if she'd be coming back. His stepdad, a man named Victor, never liked him, never even tried. "He said I wasn't his real kid," Ethan murmured, his eyes staring into the depths of his cocoa mug. He said I was someone else's problem now. Then he left me at the bus stop." Michael and Sarah exchanged a look, their hearts aching with the weight of the boy's words. They had tried for years to have children without success, and the emptiness of that longing had followed them like a quiet shadow. But now here was Ethan, frightened, abandoned, and in need of love. Maybe this child wasn't left in their path by accident. Maybe this was fate. Maybe this child was meant for them. Later that night, while Ethan slept curled up on the guest bed, Michael quietly picked up the boy's worn-out backpack from the corner of the room. He meant only to check if the child had any identification, maybe an address or emergency contact number. But instead he found a folded piece of paper, a photograph. It was a candid snapshot, a young woman with soft blonde hair and kind eyes standing next to a man with a crooked smile and familiar features. The man looked strikingly like Michael himself, only years younger. Same jawline, same deep-set eyes. Michael's breath caught in his throat. He flipped the photo over. Scrawled in neat cursive on the back were the words, "For Ethan, from your real father." His hands began to shake, knees buckled. Olivia Blake, his college sweetheart. They'd lost touch after a painful breakup forced by his controlling mother. Could Ethan really be his son? He hadn't seen Olivia Blake in over 6 years, since college. The thought hit him like a freight train. He sank into the hallway chair, staring at the photo, the weight of the past pressing hard on his chest. The boy asleep in his house might not just be a lost child. He might be Michael's own flesh and blood. Michael and Sarah took Ethan to Riverside General Hospital the next morning. With help from a nurse, they found Olivia, frail, battling stage 4 cancer, lying in a quiet oncology ward. Her eyes filled with tears when she saw Michael. "You found him," she whispered. "I wasn't sure if you'd ever know." They had a long, emotional talk. Olivia admitted she had tried to reach him years ago, but his mother had intercepted her. She had married someone else, a man who never accepted Ethan as his own. Now, with her days numbered, she had left Ethan at that bus stop, hoping Michael would find him. But not everyone was glad to see Ethan safe. Olivia's husband, Victor, showed up at the hospital drunk and angry, reeking of whiskey and shouting loud enough for nurses and patients alike to hear. As soon as he spotted Ethan in the hallway, he marched toward him with a sneer, grabbing the boy by the arm. "Let's go," he barked. "I'm done playing this game. You're not my kid. You never were. You're someone else's mess, and I'm not cleaning it up anymore." Ethan flinched but didn't cry. He just stood frozen, eyes wide with fear. Michael stepped between them immediately, his voice calm but firm. "He's not your son," he said, standing protectively in front of Ethan. "He's mine." Victor scoffed. "Yours? Now you show up, huh? After all these years? Good. Take him. He's nothing but trouble anyway." A security guard approached quickly and guided Victor away as he cursed and stumbled down the hall. It was chaotic, messy, but it was over. For good. In her final days, Olivia spent as much time as she could with Ethan and Michael. Each visit seemed to fill her with a flicker of light, a quiet joy that pushed back the shadows of illness. Those moments became precious rituals. Olivia's pale face grew more serene each day, knowing she had done the one thing she most needed, secured her son's future. One quiet morning, Olivia passed peacefully in her sleep, her fingers still curled around Ethan's small hand. She had found peace at last, knowing her son was no longer alone in the world. They buried her on a hill overlooking the river. Ethan laid white roses at her grave. "I'll make you proud, Mom," he whispered. Weeks passed. The Harwoods adopted Ethan officially, making him not just a welcome guest but a true part of their family. The legal process took time. Paperwork, interviews, background checks, but Michael and Sarah were determined. They attended every court appointment, met with social workers, and even painted Ethan's room together while waiting for the final approval. When the judge finally signed the papers, making the adoption official, the Harwoods celebrated with a dinner party at home, just the three of them. Ethan, once quiet and withdrawn, began to blossom. Sarah taught him how to measure flour and knead dough for homemade cookies, and Michael showed him how to check bus engine oil and read a city map. Their house, once filled with echoes of what might have been, now pulsed with joy and purpose. For the first time in a long while, everything felt right. Michael brought Ethan to meet his mother, Eleanor Harwood, the same woman who once forced him to leave Olivia. At first cold and skeptical, Eleanor couldn't deny the resemblance. Ethan's kindness thawed her heart. "I see him in you," she told Michael, crying. "I was wrong." By spring, Ethan was thriving. He had friends, a bike, straight A's, and two parents who adored him. On Sundays, they visited Olivia's grave with flowers. One evening, as the sun set over Riverside, Ethan looked up at Michael and Sarah and asked, "Can I call you Mom and Dad?" Sarah knelt beside him, placing her hands gently on his shoulders. "We'd love that," she said, her voice thick with emotion, tears glistening in her eyes. She pulled Ethan into a warm hug, holding him a moment longer than usual, as if to say, "You're home now, truly." Michael crouched to Ethan's level and took his small hand in both of his. "You've given us a second chance, Ethan," he said, voice steady. "A chance to be the parents we always wanted to be, and we'll never waste it, not for a second." He gave Ethan's hand a squeeze, and Ethan squeezed back, a simple gesture, but one that said everything. They stood together for a few moments longer, their hearts, though once marked by loss, now beat with hope. A new chapter had begun, and it was theirs to write, together. As they walked home through golden light, they knew this wasn't just a happy ending. It was a new beginning. What do you think of today's extraordinary story of fate and reunion? Please share your thoughts on today's story in the comments below, and thank you so much for listening to Storyline Narratives.